The Walking Dead was originally a comic series created by Robert Kirkman, which depicts the zombie apocalypse and the ongoing struggles of Rick Grimes and the people he meets along the way. The point of the series was not to have a lot of violent gore and action, but to show the emotional changes that people would go through in this world. The comic is incredibly well written, and I strongly suggest that you check it out if you haven't already. As the story is ongoing, a TV adaptation makes a lot of sense. So when AMC aired their version, they introduced the series to the mainstream. The first couple seasons attracted a lot of attention for being like the comics, great writing and depicting a realistic character-driven zombie apocalypse. The show continued to gain followers until it became the most watched show on TV. With everyone a fan and the comics long forgotten, the show now doesn't need to be great or even good for people to enjoy it. Now, I think that the first two seasons of The Walking Dead are very good, but once the show got into its third season, it started to become just stupid. So let's talk about what made the first two seasons great and why season 3 sucked. Hey, so I'm Trizzer for the win, and I'm a pretty big fan of the Walking Dead comics, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm mostly going to talk about the TV show and what it did, what it accomplished. So basically, season 1 is very good, pretty good anyways. Mostly, it's pretty short, so they mostly just set up all the characters and stuff, and they did a good job with that. Now, season 2 is where it really gets good, so I'm going to mostly talk about that. Now, the main thing that season 2 did really, really well is had great conflict between the characters. That's one thing you really need to do well in a TV show like this. It's kind of like Night of the Living Dead, which is a great movie. It's a classic zombie film, and the thing it does great is it has great conflict between the characters, mostly just by creating like situations. In Night of the Living Dead, they're trapped in this house and they debate about whether they should stay on the top level where they can maybe get help or something, or just hide in the basement where they'll probably be more safe. And then in season 2, they have some great situations. Like for the first half of the series, they're looking for Sophia, and many of them are like, "Why are we even bothering? She's probably dead." And then they find out that there's walkers in the barn, and everyone's like, "Well, what do we do about that?" And it's just great conflict like that. And and then the other story arc where they find this one kid and they don't know if they can trust him or not. And even that is kind of interesting, although I don't like that story arc as much as the first bit. But it's still really well done. Now the main reason that the main thing that made the conflict between the characters really great is Shane. Now, he's not a huge character in the comics. He gets killed off pretty early. But in the show, they made him a pretty stick around for longer. And he really, really drove season 2. And really, like, did basically the entire, made the entire season great. Like, he was just like the asshole to disagree with everyone, and was always like wanted to do the more radical thing, like just kill the kid or give up on Sophia and stuff like that. And then yeah, he did, and I think partly the actor John Bernthal did a great job portraying that character, as well as he was just well written and did a great job disagreeing with everyone. And yeah, he was just a good asshole. He's he's kind of like, he's one of those characters that you love to hate. Like he's an asshole, so you're like, I don't like him, but he's done really well, so you do enjoy him still, enjoy his presence at least. So that was really what drove season 2. And when you think about it, Shane actually solved a lot of the problems that they had with these different situations. Like, he's the one who opens the barn, so they have to end up killing all the walkers. Problem solved. And he's the one who kills this this guy that they find, and they don't really know what to do with him. And then, yeah. So at the end of season 2, spoilers, but why are you watching this if you don't know this already? Shane dies, and then so season 3 starts, and I'll try and explain what I think most of the problems of season 3 are. Now, I heard somewhere that some of the writers or directors left for season 3, and Yeah, it definitely shows. Right away in the first episode of season 3, which is one of the better episodes, at least of that season. Um, it something feels off, and it's just the whole thing where it takes place later, and like a few months later, and the characters already feel different and stuff like that. It's just it's just like you can sense that the writing and the directing is different. Um, okay, so then when we get into the main gist of season 3, what's really the main problem? Why do I not like it? Why I don't know why other people like it, but why I do not like it is because they do a really bad job at having conflict between the characters. In season 2, they did it perfectly. Season 1, it was even done pretty well as well. But in season 3, they just don't know what to do for some reason. Um, and there's all kinds of stuff they can do. Mostly just what I think season 2 did is create these really interesting situations. Like what they should have been doing is, okay, there's these prisoners at this prison, and I don't know what we should do about them. But they don't really touch on that very much. Rick just kind of kills a couple of them for no reason, and that's the really sucky thing is they don't know who to make like a guy who disagrees with everyone, so they just make everyone disagree with each other, and they make all the characters seem like assholes, and it's really stupid, and it'll be kind of hard. It's kind of hard to explain without showing some clips. So, but I don't feel like doing that. So there's this one scene in an earlier episode where Rick and the people meet these prisoners, and now this one prisoner who Rick doesn't really trust because he's kind of aggressive. They don't know anything about him because they don't talk to them and find out anything about them. But anyways, they're fighting some zombies, and this guy he pushes the zombie at Rick and it knocks him over. But he ends up being okay. They kill all the zombies, and Rick's like, "Hey, yeah, you asshole, what did you do that for?" And the guy's like, "Sorry, man, it was coming at me and stuff." And then Rick's like, "Oh, I get it." And then he just stabs him in the face with his sword, with his machete thing. And it's like, okay, that was totally uncalled for and completely unjustified. Like he did not hesitate for a second on killing this guy who he just met. Like, okay, sure, he could be dangerous, but emphasis on could. You do not know this guy. You can't just go around killing people. And this is the main character. If it was someone else who did this, like, I don't know, none of the characters they have at the time would really fit, but they just that's the part of the problem is they didn't have the right character to do this, so sometimes they just make Rick a total asshole, and you're supposed to like this guy, you're supposed to relate to him. How am I supposed to relate to some murderer who just goes out around killing people he doesn't like? It's horrible. It's stupid. And they do this a lot of the time. Like, there's really they just can't, for some reason, they can't figure out how to do good conflict between the characters. So they just make them disagree on the stupidest of things. Like Michonne, who's an awesome character in the comics, but I'm not going to get into that too much. And they meet this girl, Michonne, and they don't know if they should trust her, but she doesn't say anything to them for some reason. So, like, they just be like, "Oh, I don't know if we can trust her," and stuff like it's not that interesting to watch, and it just seems like it's a big waste of time, and that's a lot of the season as well. Is they just waste time, which is it's supposed to be like interesting drama, but it's just the characters being stupid and disagreeing with each other. Like when the characters, like all the characters seem out of character in this season because they just randomly will disagree with each other and be angry, and that's not good drama. You need to create conflict. I get why you need to create conflict, but you need to do it well, and you need to use like different situations, like this. The whole season, they find this other group of survivors in this town called Woodbury, which is great. This should be a huge thing, and they try to make it a big thing, but they don't know how for some again like because they're dumb, I guess, and like they argue a bit over like, oh, I don't think we can trust them, or we should go out and fight them and stuff like that, which definitely I think that makes sense, but it's just not that interesting, and partly because it's stupid. Like they don't really debate over any of the things you think they would. It's more just like really trivial stuff like, oh, can we trust Michonne? And oh, Merle's back. Can we trust him? Like, who cares? Just go out and do stuff. Like, and I think because they don't exactly have Shane or a character like him, they don't have that like, oh, well, this guy will eventually solve the problem. Like, that's what the governor should have been. Um, and I think, yeah, he's they make him out to be this like really evil guy, and he's totally not, which is the main thing I hate about the season. And like he should just like they make him almost crazy, but he should really be sort of like evil, where he straight up kills several members of Rick's group or something like that, and then you'd see like why they don't know what to do with this problem of another group of survivors. But like, and then Andrea, who gets really annoying in this season. In the first couple seasons, they kind of just made her an asshole. But in this one, she like tries to make everyone work together, which does make sense. But when this happens, you're just like, I don't care about you anymore. Like she just becomes a stupid character. And there's all these completely useless characters at the town Woodbury, and like you have these people disagreeing and stuff, but it doesn't go anywhere. And even the season finale doesn't go anywhere. Like you'd think the whole season they build up that these two places are gonna fight, but they don't. Like the governor comes in and shoots a few like zombies, and then they light off some firecrackers, and then the governor's people leave. Now the governor ends up killing all of them, and that should be like, whoa, but it's not, because it's stupid. It's characters that we don't know or care about. He should be killing off some of the main characters. Or like, I don't know, just doing stuff that like, to really mess with the group, with our main protagonist. But he doesn't, and it's just annoying, and it wastes time. Like there's this one episode where Rick and the governor are negotiating. Rick's like, okay, if we get like half this area, then you get the other half. That's fair, right? And the governor's like, no, I'm gonna take over, or you guys can leave. And like, he should come off as threatening and stuff, but he really doesn't. And they're arguing for this whole episode, and it goes like they're barely arguing. Like they're just kind of like, oh, Rick's like, oh, we need this area, and then the governor's like, no, I'm gonna take over, and then that's like the entire episode and it goes nowhere. And it's like, why is this whole thing just a huge waste of time? And it's because the writers and directors and stuff just don't know what to do. So they just try to make these scenarios that aren't interesting, relevant, or interesting, but it doesn't work. And yeah, hopefully you understand what I'm getting at if you've seen the season. Don't watch it if you haven't, because it's stupid. And the characters they just all act stupid and out of character because they're trying to create this conflict between the characters. Okay, I found another great example. The governor kidnaps what's her name? Okay, Glenn's girlfriend, Herschel's daughter, Maggie. There, I got it. He kidnaps like Maggie, and he's like trying to get her to tell him where the group is or something like that. So he's interrogating her basically, and then he's like, "Okay, take off your clothes," and she ends up taking off her shirt, and that's it. And then she's like, "Whoa." She's like covering it up like this, so you don't see anything, which is fine because it's TV and stuff. But like, you think he was gonna like rape her or something, right? Well, he doesn't. Okay, that's alright, that's fine, and like, I guess, but it's like, why did he even do that? Like, if she didn't talk, so he should have kept like pushing her until she did, because that's what bad guys do when they're interrogating people. And 3, he didn't even like try that. Like, what? I don't know. That wasn't really 3 points, but like it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. And then after that, Glenn's all pissed off at Rick because he's like, "Did you see what he did to her?" And then you find out like he didn't do anything to her. So Why is Glenn pissed off? He found that, he knew that, but he's still pissed off at Rick because we need conflict between the characters. But it has to make sense. Stuff has to happen. Like, what? It's stupid. It's just stupid. Okay, I could rant for another while, but I think I think I got my main points across. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, season two did a really good job of creating conflict between the characters and having these just personalities that just clash together. And in season three, they didn't have the character of Shane. They could have come up with a new character or something, but or just created really interesting scenarios, but they didn't. They just did stupid thing. They just all created scenarios that could be really cool, but did a crappy version of them and pretended that they were actually interesting. And yeah, it's dumb. The writing's not as good. The directing's not as good. A lot of the actors start like really overacting, and it's. I don't think it's the actors. It's the directors and stuff. Um, like like the one scene where Rick finds out that Lori died, and he's just like, no, and it's one of the like funniest no. It's one of the funniest of those ever, I think. And yeah, it should be like really depressing, but he ruins the scene because and I don't think it was I don't think like uh the Andrew Lincoln's like, oh, I got it, I'm gonna like cry no really awkwardly and stupidly. I'm pretty sure the directors did that because I think Andrew Lincoln is a good actor. Um, but yeah, like all the characters act stupid and okay, I'm gonna stop for now. That's mostly what I'm trying to get across is that they do a really bad job creating this conflict between the characters. So none of it's really interesting, none of it really fits the characters, and none of it makes sense. So yeah, thanks for watching. Charizard for the win. And I don't like The Walking Dead because it's stupid now. Oh yeah, and season 4 hasn't gotten any better. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. Bye.